but I'm not going to change my personality. Ain't nobody, they can't fire me. I make too much money to get fired. So they can't fire me.
I can tell you, I also spoke as co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously.
Charles Barkley is flipping the whole script at ESPN, and Shannon Sharpe is not keeping quiet. Barkley just locked in a wild $210 million deal, and now he's acting like the boss. He's straight up refusing extra appearances, brushing off obligations, and basically daring ESPN to fire him if they've got the guts. Meanwhile, Shannon's stuck on the sidelines, watching this circus unfold after he got cut from the same network, all because of a messy scandal. And let's be real, he's heated. Shannon's been throwing shade at ESPN, questioning why Barkley gets to break all the rules while he got booted. The man's tangled up in lawsuits, trying to tiptoe around morality clauses, and got top execs breathing down his neck. But Charles, he's doing victory laps. No stress, no rules, just vibes and big checks. Word on the street is, Chuck even hit up Outkicks Don't At Me with Dan Dakich and aired everything out. He didn't hold back at all. Told ESPN straight up he's not talking about the Lakers, and if they don't like it, tough. He said he'll speak his truth no matter who's signing the checks. ESPN can either deal with it or bounce. So what's really going on here? Why is Charles untouchable while Shannon gets the axe? Something shady's going down behind those ESPN walls, and it's got people talking. Normally, someone in Charles Barkley's spot would play the game, nod, smile, and say whatever the network wants just to keep that cushy gig. But not Chuck.
Two different radio national shows. And I said, I don't want to talk about LeBron James every freaking day or Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers or all the bullshit you got to talk about. I don't want to do that every day. Now you're going to ESPN. And you've been critical of ESPN, particularly their coverage of the Lakers. What are your thoughts as this is your last season heading over?
Yeah, Dan, I'm not going to change. I'm going to do what I want to do. Nobody's going to tell me what to say or what to do. I thought I get upset. They're like the Lakers are contenders. I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not contenders. Kendrick Perkins, who don't know his ass from a hole in the wall. He's like, the Lakers are contenders. Lakers are contenders, and I said, they're not contenders.
He's in a whole different league, and he knows it. Getting fired? That's not even on his radar because ESPN can't afford to lose him. Literally. Chuck made it loud and clear. They can't fire me. I make too much money to get fired, so they can't fire me. First of all, if they fire me, they gotta pay me for 7 years, and I'm gonna quit way before then. But if they wanna fire me, I would love for them to do that. He straight up said the only decision being made is how long he decides to work. That's power. He doubled down and said nobody at ESPN is going to tell him what to say or how to act. Period. And guess what? He's got the receipts to back it up. In 2022, Charles inked a monster deal. 10 years for a jaw-dropping $210 million, just to be the voice on the most-watched basketball pregame and postgame shows on TV. That's not just a contract. That's a golden ticket. And here's the kicker. With a deal like that, ESPN can't even touch him if he decides to bend a few rules. If they do, they'd still owe him that full $210 million. It's checkmate, and Chuck's holding all the pieces. To make it even messier, he's already made it known. He's not about to be grinding into his 70s. He's clocking in on his own terms and clocking out when he feels like it.
The only decision we've been making is how long I'm on work. And I've been going back and forth with TNT for the last 2 months, whether I'm going to work 2 years or 3 years. But if I really wanted to, I could stay for 7 years, which there's no chance of that happening. Zero.
Charles Barkley is getting ready to hang it all up. And unlike the rest of the ESPN crew, he's not clinging to the spotlight. While guys like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe are still grinding hard, chasing those next contracts, and making sure they don't ruffle any feathers, Chuck's out here with nothing to lose. Those other hosts, they gotta keep their bosses happy just to stay in the game. But Chuck, nah. Earlier this year on NBA TV, he had everybody's jaws on the floor when he dropped this bombshell. I ain't going nowhere other than TNT, but I have made the decision myself that no matter what happens, next year is going to be my last year on television. He didn't say it for leverage. He wasn't bluffing for a raise. Chuck made it crystal clear. He's done taking calls from other networks. They've been knocking, but he's not answering. He's not trying to score another flashy deal. He's trying to retire his way. And when he sat down with Outkick not long ago, nothing had changed. His attitude stayed the same, calm, confident, and completely unbothered. Even though he technically has 7 years left on that massive contract, Chuck flat out told them there's no way he's finishing it. He's already talking with TNT about how long he's sticking around, but make no mistake, he's calling the shots, not the other way around. Let's not forget, if ESPN even thinks about firing Charles Barkley during this contract, they'll still owe him every last cent of that $210 million.
Charles Barkley has reportedly agreed to a 10-year deal with TNT that's estimated to be worth over $100 million. Let's be honest, Barkley is arguably one of the most popular sports studio analysts out there, and he's in a landscape where salaries for sportscasters have just changed dramatically over the years. And if TNT were to let him go, it'd just be terrible. Just terrible.
That's a heavy price tag just to get rid of someone who refuses to play by the rules. And now, the drama's only piling up. Barkley made it very clear. He's not trying to show up on shows like Get Up, First Take, SportsCenter, or anything else once he officially joins ESPN.
But for me personally, I wanted you guys to hear from me because I'm not doing any more interviews. Don't y'all be calling me. Nobody calling me. I'm not talking about this again, but I want to tell my NBA and NBA TV and TNT family that I'm not going to another network, but I'm going to pass the baton to either Jamal Crawford or Vince Carter or you, Steve. But next year, I'm going to just retire after 25 years, and I just want to say thank you.
And here's the twist that actually would have made sense for him. Next season, ESPN's picking up the Inside the NBA format since TNT Sports lost its NBA broadcasting rights. So technically, Chuck will be stepping into ESPN territory. And knowing how ESPN operates, they're going to want to squeeze every penny out of that deal, pushing him to pop up all over their lineup. But Chuck's not having it. He's not trying to overwork himself, and he definitely ain't about to be ESPN's golden show pony. He's shutting all that down before it even starts. And if that wasn't enough shade, he's not thrilled about splitting the screen with certain ESPN personalities either. Word is, Chuck's not exactly a fan of Stephen A. Smith or Kendrick Perkins, especially Perkins. He once joked Perkins can't tell the difference between a hole in the wall and his own face. That's wild. So yeah, don't expect a buddy-buddy vibe between those two anytime soon. Bottom line, Chuck's a serious headache for ESPN, but one they can't afford to get rid of.
You know, there's been a lot of noise around our network the last few months. And I just want to say, I've talked to all the other networks, but I ain't going nowhere.
And watching all of this from the sidelines is Shannon Sharpe, still salty. This is the same network that tossed him out over a lawsuit, and now they're bending over backwards for Chuck? No wonder Shannon's feeling some type of way. Here's the tea. Word on the street is Shannon Sharpe had a few choice words for his coworker, Charles Barkley. But before Shannon gets all worked up and starts throwing shots, he might want to pause and realize something. He and Chuck are not playing the same game, not even close. Let's break it down. Chuck is a certified legend, a walking headline, and he brings serious star power to any platform he touches. Shannon, according to the New York Times, ESPN is cutting him a solid check, $6.5 million a year, just to go head-to-head with Stephen A. Smith 2 days a week on First Take. Sounds sweet, right? But here's the problem. That money doesn't come with immunity. The moment Shannon's name got tied up in a public civil suit involving a young woman, ESPN didn't even blink. They let him go. No loyalty, no patience, no protection. That's the cold reality.
This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do.
Meanwhile, Chuck is over here breaking rules, calling shots, and still cashing checks. Why? Because he brings a different level of heat. and ESPN knows it. But it's not just about fame, it's deeper. Remember, ESPN is owned by Disney, and Disney runs a tight ship. Every contract they hand out comes with one of those infamous morality clauses. That's legal talk for, if you embarrass us, we can drop you fast. These contracts use purposefully vague words like public disrepute, humiliation, or anything that might damage the brand. Translation, if Disney thinks your name brings bad press, you're done. No second chances. And the top execs don't play when it comes to protecting the mouse's image. Scandals like Shannon Sharpe's give networks the green light to cut ties real quick. And in this case, Disney didn't even hesitate. Let's be honest here. They didn't fire him on a whim. Shannon definitely slipped up. He's 56, and word got out that he was involved with a 19-year-old, a situation that had the public side-eyeing hard. Now, come on. Shannon's been in the spotlight for decades. With all that experience, you'd think someone on his team would have told him to handle that situation smarter. Maybe tighten things up legally before it got messy, especially after what happened during that Instagram fiasco last year when fans caught way too much of his personal life and basically turned his bedroom into a trending topic. But once again, no lessons learned. And look, Disney doesn't usually drop the ball when it comes to talent. So when they clean house, they do it fast and quiet. One insider even claimed Shannon's already blacklisted from the network. Another source dropped some serious buzz. There's talk that his career at ESPN might be officially over. I reached out to someone close to the production side at ESPN, and here's what they said. Shannon's still on First Take Mondays and Tuesdays. That's it. Every other day, he's not scheduled. Doesn't mean he's done yet, but the storm around him hasn't exactly cleared either. And if that wasn't enough heat, even Stephen A. Smith admitted he personally spoke with Disney's CEO. And yeah, they're taking Shannon's situation real serious. That says a lot. When the top boss steps in, that's not just gossip, that's crisis mode. Now sure, Shannon might be feeling bitter about how it all went down, but truth be told, he wasn't exactly beloved behind the scenes. There were already whispers about drama at his old stomping grounds, Fox Sports. One source even claimed he was accused of putting hands on a female production assistant before his current $50 million legal battle even started. So while Shannon's calling foul, Disney saw the risk and made their move fast, clean, and possibly permanent. The alleged incident happened while Shannon Sharpe was still co-hosting Undisputed on Fox Sports between 2016 and 2023. But here's the twist. He didn't get fired for it. Instead, Sharpe and Fox reached a private settlement with the accuser for what insiders say was several $100,000. No court case, no headline, just a quiet check and a quiet exit. Now, of course, Sharpe's rep was quick to shut the whole thing down. They denied any kind of choking incident ever took place on the FS1 set. According to the official statement, there was only light physical interaction in a playful context between Shannon and a few co-workers, and Fox simply decided to handle it privately. They even said, for further details, contact Fox directly. But let's be real, fans aren't buying that polished PR spin. What really shocked people was the fact that Fox didn't cut him loose right then and there. In any other case, this kind of controversy would have had someone shown the door immediately. But this is the entertainment industry where consequences are negotiable, especially if you're still pulling in views. Truth is, Disney and ESPN could have chosen to stand by Shannon when his latest legal mess came to light. But the backlash? It would have been brutal. One major voice who spoke out about the way ESPN handled the whole situation was former SportsCenter anchor Sage Steele, and she didn't hold back. She hopped on X and let the network have it, calling out what she sees as a broken system. In response to another user pointing out that ESPN often refuses to renew contracts for women with conservative opinions, Sage wrote, "There's a long list of examples where ESPN or Disney considers having conservative viewpoints a much greater offense than questionable character." That post lit a fire online because she said what a lot of people were already thinking. Let's not ignore the facts. Shannon Sharpe's name has come up more than once when it comes to questionable behavior involving women. Just putting it out there. And now, even more former ESPN voices are chiming in. Ashley Brewer-Kaminsky, who used to work for the network, jumped into the conversation and spilled a little of her own experience. She posted, "Never forget when I got chewed out by my boss for posting a pic of a Republican congressman and a UFC fighter on my Instagram story at the McGregor fight. LOL, that post hit hard. Why? Because it exposed just how strict ESPN really is, especially when it comes to politics. The network has an unspoken rule. stay neutral, or stay silent, period. Then there's Sage Steele again, who was actually suspended for speaking out against the company's COVID vaccine mandate. Think about that. Compared to what Shannon's been involved in, that looks like a light offense. But she still got benched. So yeah, if Disney had tried to protect Shannon through his legal drama, it could have blown up in their face. Keeping him around might have led to ex-employees pulling out receipts and filing lawsuits for wrongful termination. And that's a storm Disney wasn't about to risk. From a business angle, cutting Shannon loose was the safer play. He came with baggage and bad press. But Charles Barkley? That's a whole different story. Sure, he's been a rebel, threatening to retire early and refusing to play along with corporate demands, but he's not wrapped up in lawsuits or personal scandals. Chuck might be a handful, but he's not a liability. Shannon, he's become a risk ESPN didn't want to carry. And that's the difference. Even Stephen A. Smith knows the network doesn't bend the rules for just anyone, only for the ones they can't afford to lose. The very man who went to bat for Shannon wasn't shocked when the axe finally dropped. He admitted it hurt, saying, "When the news came down that he and ESPN had mutually agreed that he would need to come off the airwaves of ESPN, it was a blow. A blow to the show, a blow to me personally because I'm going to miss him." But then he added the real kicker. It was not a surprise.
I can tell you, I also spoke. As co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely.
Now, Stephen A.'s been deep in the Disney game since way back in 2003. He knows exactly how this machine runs. And if you're not clean, calculated, and careful, you're gone. So as much as it stung, even he saw it coming. So yeah, Shannon might feel some type of way. But if he's smart, he'll pause before doing anything reckless. This isn't about unfair treatment anymore. It's about accountability. Because when it all comes down to it, Shannon didn't get played. He just played himself. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Shannon has a right to be mad? Should he be pointing fingers at the network or at Charles? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives and celebrity drama, and turn on the notifications so you never miss a drop. See you in the next one.